There's just a handful of points separating new championship leader Joe Francis, 13 years of age, and 16-year-old Tom Oliver from Colchester. We're at Brands Hatch in Kent. Welcome to GP Racing Dream.
Well, hello and welcome to GP Racing Dream here at gorgeously sunny Brands Hatch. We're on the Thundersport GB bill. It's the Aprilia Super Teams, this superb series for youngsters aged between 12 and 18. Simply the best way to learn going racing. Now then, things even more tense at this stage of the season. This is Brands Hatch, just 2 rounds of Thundersport GB to go. Steve is going to take us on a lap of the track. Steve.
Thanks very much, Robin. Well, you join us as we enter Paddock Hill Bend, one of the most famous right-handers in Britain. Clip the right apex, drift out to the left and up towards Druids. A great place for overtaking, down to about second gear, knee all the way around. Drift out to the left then, and then change direction of the bike downhill into the next left-hander, which is Graham Hill Bend. Up into the Cooper Straight. Another good chance for an overtaking move into Surtees here, this left-hander. Then again, change direction of the bike onto the super quick McLaren, which leads you into Clearways. Try and get the drive right, on the power as early as possible around here, Clearways. Keep the bike cranked over, flat out. That takes us back onto the start-finish straight.
Brilliant stuff, and great view of the circuit as well. Of course, entirely resurfaced for this year and looks absolutely splendid. Steve's on the green.
Number 40, new championship leader Joe Francis, looking to break the lap record here at Brands Hatch and extend his championship lead. This is after number 20. Tom Oliver had a disastrous day. He's on the second row. Second up here, though, alongside David Allingham and Harry Coomber, is Brad Jones. He got his first ever race win yesterday, and we caught up with him a little bit earlier on. 13-year-old Bradley Jones. Brad, what a fantastic day it was for you here at Brands Hatch yesterday. All season you've been waiting for that first win, and you finally got it.
Yeah, yesterday was great. Real tight, obviously, 9,000 of a second with Joe. I really enjoyed the battle, but the key is I got away at the start, got a bit of a gap, and then Joe caught up, got past. I thought I'd sit with him and try and get him to the line, which is what happened, and I enjoyed it, yeah.
Now, all season long you've been up in the top 5. You must be looking at possibly 3rd in the championship?
Yeah, well, it's tight between me and Ben Luxton. We worked out it's 1 point. I'm in 1 point ahead of Ben now, so it's going to be tight for the rest of the season. Just keep consistent, try to stay on it, but try and pick up podiums at the same time.
Now you've got that first win out of the way, do you feel more relaxed on the bike?
Yeah, I feel more relaxed. I'm also going to try and get more, but it's not as much pressure on anymore. I can go out there and focus on getting podiums now and hopefully have a rest of a good season.
Well, well done for getting your first win, and good luck for the rest of the day. We'll be keeping our eye on you.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Well, things couldn't be more different from the conditions they faced in qualifying. It was wet and greasy for the whole of the session. Joe Francis on pole position with Brad Jones alongside him. Then Harry Coomber, 3rd on that front row. David Allingham, the young rider from Northern Ireland, Steve, one of the most improved riders over the last few events, on the outside of that front row.
Yeah, keep an eye on him. He's on the inside. Not necessarily seen as a good place to be here at Brands Hatch. In a way they go, and Joe Francis doesn't get away very well. Tom Oliver does, the white helmet, but it's David Allingham. Well, surprisingly away well from the inside.
Yeah, and Tom Oliver there just towards the outside, but that's going to give him a really quick run down the dip at the bottom of Paddock Hill, then up under the bridge into Druids for the first time. This absolutely delightful little circuit here, the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. It's a real test of rider and machine, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, so many people say Brands Hatch only 6 turns. Well, it must be easy. It's not. It's very testing, and these Aprilias are right on the edge. They're flat out almost the whole way round, with the exception, of course, of Druids.
Yeah, here they come through the Surtees and McLaren complex, right through McLaren here, up this quite steep rise onto the top of Clearways. Clearways, a corner with one name, but it's got at least 4 elements to it. One of the more difficult parts of the circuit to get right. and then they scream around the exit there with inertia. It's all pulling them towards the outside of the track, and then the blast across the start-finish line, and once more up quite a steep hill into the top of Paddock.
Yes, Paddock Hill is a blind apex when you enter it. You've just got to tip into the oblivion almost as we make our way onto the second lap. And it's still Angham, number 3, that leads. Ben Luxton, number 9 there in second position. And then yesterday's winner, Bradley Jones, number 75 in third. Joe Francis, the new championship leader, is catching though.
Yep. Joe, who kept his cool yesterday. Tom Oliver, of course, we did mention, he was a faller at the first corner of the first race, and that's really where his championship lead fell apart. But he's a really racy youngster, isn't he, Steve? And I think he's got over that now. And Joe Francis needn't think that it's all going to be comfortable from here on in.
No, Francis, I suppose you could think that this has been coming. Francis has been on top form, but there's a cool head on those young shoulders of Tom Oliver, and he won't give up just yet, although he must secure some points today.
Yes, indeed. They charge down through Paddock Hill Bend once again, and look at the dip there down the bottom. You can still see on that side of the track that the early morning dew, rather than last night's little shower, is leaving the track a little bit greasy offline. It's always the case at this time of the year at Brands. It's heavy trees up and around Druids, and it never completely dries out, even though we're in glorious sunny conditions.
Amazing there, you see number 40, Joe Francis, with the red helmet, just ahead of Bradley Jones there, and that's Ross Twyman in the all-black. But there he goes up in second, actually, Joe Francis, with the red helmet, number 40, new championship leader. He doesn't get away from the line all that well, but he just lets his tyres warm up, gradually picks them off. He's got some great lines coming into Paddock Hill Bendo, but it's still Allingham that leads.
Yeah, David Allingham looking very cool at the front, but Joe Francis, as you say, he does bide his time. He's not one of the riders who feels that they've got to get it all done in the first corner on the first lap. And Ben Luxton in third place, having a really good ride here at Brands Hatch. We need to look a little bit further back, because in the group behind, we've got the erstwhile championship leader, Tom Oliver, and Harry Coomber, Aaron Cookland, and Josh Hill. They're all chasing, but these 5 at the front, just, well, maybe half dozen, just putting a gap on the rest at the moment.
Oh, and Allingham runs a little bit wide there as they make their way into clearways, and that's given Joe Francis a chance, and he doesn't need to take many of those. There he goes up into the lead. You're just seeing a shot there of Ross Twyman being slipstreamed by Brad Jones, but this is the fight at the front.
Yes, look at this coming down into Paddock Hill Bend, and it's 3 abreast going into Paddock. Oh, and Joe Francis just holds his line down the centre of the track. Beautifully done, and as you were saying earlier, Steve, the fact that he can let his tyres come to him at the beginning. You know, that overtake back at McLaren, that wasn't because he was any quicker or had any more power. It was simply placing the bike in the right place on the track.
Yeah, clearways and McLaren are very important to get the right line through there, because it gives you the drive and the power onto the start-finish straight. Allingham, however, has gone back up into the lead into Druids. This is a little bit further back. That's George Stanley, number 5. There's youngsters battling for all of the points all the way back to about 20th.
Joe Francis there tucked in third place with Ben Luxton on his shoulder now. So Joe was up the front, getting swallowed by the pack. Goodness me. And whoa, there's riders down all over the place up there at Druids. That's Alex Baker and Marlo Ward, and there's another couple of riders down. I think their bikes are blocking the track. They're checking they're okay, and that brings an end to that.
Well, as you can see, that race unfortunately stopped. We do understand that all the riders are up and okay, which is always good to hear. The organisers just rearranging all of the Aprilias back onto the grid. It looks like it's going to be a 2-part race, Robin.
Thanks very much, Steve. Yes, they'll line up with David Allingham on pole, Joe Francis, Ben Luxton and Brad Jones completing that front row. They line up, of course, in the positions they cross the line as that race was stopped, and away they run. And another poorish start for Joe Francis, Steve, leaving himself a little bit to do again.
Yes, he's just chosen the outside line into Paddock Hill, but it's David Allingham that gets away well. Important to remember here, for a 5-lap dash, David Allingham that led. All he needs to do really is stay where he is to win the race, but he can afford to finish in second, albeit if he's close enough. We'll keep you posted on that. see there Leanne Hunt going around Druids, but at the front it is still Allingham that leads. Second position is Ben Luxton, third for Bradley Jones, number 75.
Yes, Tom Oliver this time, a better start for him. He's up alongside Joe Francis as they ran into Surtees, but at the moment, David Allingham at the front of this, and this very much a sprint race, and obviously we'll glue them together, and that'll give us an overall result, but at the moment, they will simply be thinking not of time intervals, but just a short dash for it. And Joe Francis already moving up into second and having a look down into the lead at paddock. Beautifully done again, Steve.
Yeah, he's got that mastered. He's the last of the late breakers into there, but the drive belongs to David Allingham, and he goes back up the inside into Druids again.
Fantastic stuff, yes, and once again, that top six, the usual suspects, all there, and they put a tiny bit of a gap on the field, but David Allingham at the moment just holding that lead, Steve.
Yes, but look at the inside here. Joe Francis into Surtees, possibly. He's going to stuff it up the inside. There he goes. A great move from Joe Francis. Allingham only needs to finish just behind Francis, though, to win overall in a two-part race.
Yep, checker flag will be being made ready just around the end of the corner. But at the moment, it's Joe Francis that heads the pack. Allingham sat in his rear wheel, and you'd imagine that's enough. And Allingham just putting up alongside as they run to the line. And, well, when we combine the results of the two parts of that race, well, that was just close at the end. But David Allingham, look at that, by 0.1 of a second, gets the verdict from Joe Francis, Ben Luxton, Brad Jones, Ross Twyman. Tom Oliver was 6th, Aaron Cooper 7th, Harry Cooper 8th, Ryan Longshaw 9th, and Josh Hill 10th. There we see on the podium the overall David Allingham, Joe Francis, and Ben Luxton. And in the Nitro newcomers, David Allingham, Joe Francis, and Ryan Longshaw.
Winner of that race, David Allingham. At last, you've got a win on TV day. That was really close.
Yeah, it was definitely close. On Friday, I crashed and I actually hurt my thumb and finger. So me and my dad thought we weren't going to be on the podium, even on the newcomers, because we were riding terrible on Friday. But in the last couple of sessions, I took it up, and then I started riding really good. And I don't know, I just came out then and started riding good and got first position.
And did you know that you had it when you came across the line?
I don't really know, because Joe started pumping his hands, so I thought, well, maybe he had a bit more. But then I remembered when I came in then about the two-part race, so I was thinking, yes, I definitely have it.
And anyone to thank at all, David?
I'd like to thank Dunlop, Nitro, John Lloyd from Nitro, all the Thundersport GP, my dad, and Gail over at home. Thank you.
Joe, it's been a topsy-turvy weekend, but a good one for you so far. New championship leader, you must be delighted.
Yeah, I'm happy of leading the championship now. Just trying to chip it, try and keep the gap, get it bigger from Tom. And just unlucky in that race. There was 2 par, otherwise I might have won it, but just unlucky.
Yeah, it's the second time this weekend that you've just been pipped to the post just on the line there.
Yeah, just on the line. It doesn't seem to be happening, but I'll make up for it in the last race.
You must have a lot of people to thank.
Hey, Bennett's Bike a Dream, Motrap Racing, Mum and Dad, and my little brother Jacob, my nan and granddad, So Many Roads, Trevor, Graham Long, Trevor Baker, and Fab Racing.
Well, congratulations on the new championship lead, and we'll look forward to race 2.
Thank you.
Third place in that race, Ben Luxton. Ben, you've come into some late form, you're getting some podiums. That was very close between you and Bradley, though, for the last rostrum place.
Yeah, definitely. It's really close. It was so good race, so everyone was so tired and really enjoyed it, yeah.
It's really close for the battle for third in the championship now. It looks like it's going to go to the wire between Joe and Tom, but yourself, you must be going for third now.
Yeah, hopefully, but Brad's still really close, so let's hopefully do this again and then that'll be good. I'd like to thank Nitro, Dunlop, Ian Newton, Thundersport and all the marshals for doing such a great job, and Dave at High Five and all my family for helping me out.
Well done to you, Ben, and good luck for the next one.
Thanks.
Brilliant stuff. We're just going to take a short break and we'll be back with the second of the Aprilia Super Team races on GP Racing Dream.